Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we'll be doing a full breakdown on the Dancer's job changes and additions coming in Endwalker. This information is fresh out of the latest media tour which I had the privilege of attending, but bear in mind everything in this video is still subject to change before Endwalker's release. I won't be focusing much on potencies here unless I feel like I need to bring them up for a particular reason, just because it's not final, so it's really not worth getting hung up about. Oh, and also there's a playlist in the description and from clicking the I in the top right corner right now to check out all of my other videos on Endwalker job changes. With that, let's get started. Now, Dancer's skills and general flow will remain mostly the same in Endwalker, but it did undergo some significant changes even before getting into the new skills. First of all, the job's single target and AoE combos all had their procs completely changed. Now, Cascade and Windmill both have a 50% chance of activating Flourishing Symmetry, while Fountain and Blade Shower have a 50% chance of activating Flourishing Flow. These effects will allow you to use the more powerful skills like before, but it's the same resource shared between single target and AoE. This change basically means you won't ever use AoE procs on single targets anymore, a big change from Shadowbringers. Single target skills are for single targets, and AoE skills are for groups of mobs. To help cement this change as well, the potencies of the AoE skills were pretty drastically dropped, but in exchange they have no fall off damage in AoE scenarios. I know I said we wouldn't talk about potencies, but like I said, there's also a few places we kind of want to bring them up. On top of that, all of these buffs now last 30 seconds as opposed to Shadowbringer's 20 seconds for the procs. This makes your openers much safer to adjust if you get a lot of Saber Dancers from your Esprit. This does mean that Flourish was changed to just give you one Symmetry and one Flow, as well as a Fan Dance 3 proc like before. This drastically reduces the global cooldown busy work the skill had before, but it does get something new added that we'll cover in a bit. The other change is to Improvisation. Now, it used to give Esprit to the Dancer based on the number of allies standing within its range, while also boosting healing received for any player in range. This has been completely changed, with the skill now healing all party members in range every few seconds. On top of that, every 3 seconds, the skill generates a stack of Rising Rhythm up to a maximum of 4. If you reactivate the skill with any number of Rising Rhythm stacks, the party will receive a barrier equal to a portion of their max HP. This percentage barrier increases with more stacks as well. If you fail to reactivate the skill before Improvisation halts naturally though, the barrier won't take effect. This appears to remove some of the in-combat functionality of the skill that you used to be able to master, especially in endgame raids. I used to try to weave the skill not just between my global cooldowns, but also without interrupting my auto attack timer. It would give an instant 10 Esprit if the party was stacked, 20 if I was lucky, and provide the healing buff for 5 seconds total, even with just a flicked activation. Now, you'll pretty much only use it as a downtime tool. Perhaps there is some use to consider when you channel it just to heal the team and get the shield for a big room-wide AoE that's coming, but that's up to 12 seconds of damage you might not be dealing. Maybe just going with the 3-second 1-stack barrier instead of trying to go for all 12 seconds. But quite frankly, I don't really know how I feel about this skill. It's just too much time to ask the Dancer to commit, I feel. Even as a downtime tool, I'm not even that big of a fan. I'll definitely find ways to utilize it, basically anywhere there's at least 3 seconds of downtime, but I'm certainly not that excited about this version of Improvisation. Alright, so those are the notable changes to the old stuff, but what about the new stuff? Well, thanks to a mix of traits and new skills, Dancer will be seeing a lot more outline skills on their hotbars. At level 82, Technical Finish receives a trait that allows it to follow up with a new skill, Tilana. After you perform a Technical Finish, the skill transforms into Tilana. The skill itself is a weaker, instant cast standard step, and even refreshes you and your dance partner's standard step duration. Just some nice bonus damage after the Technical Finish that you'll incorporate once every 2 minutes, and we'll talk about that a bit later. At level 84, Dancer receives a massive buff to their Esprit generation. Now every Flourishing Symmetry or Flourishing Flow skill will generate 10 Esprit. This adds a bit of consistency to the job's Saber Dance usage while still keeping the original RNG aspect outside of this intact. Even with trying to not talk about potencies much, it does seem like potencies were reduced across the board to make up for this consistency, but we'll see how that pans out in November. At level 86, the job gets Fan Dance 4. Like the other Fan Dances, this is an off-global attack that deals AoE damage, though this time in a cone in front of the dancer. It can only be activated after gaining the 4-fold Fan Dance buff, which, at the same level, is added to the list of effects that Flourish provides. Basically, once a minute, you'll get a use of Fan Dance 4 that you'll have to weave in. Finally, at level 90, Dancer gets Starfall Dance. This new global cooldown skill deals AoE damage in a straight line in front of the dancer with some pretty serious fall off for multiple targets. However, this skill can only be activated after gaining Flourishing Starfall as a buff. This is gained every time a dancer uses Devilment, so like Fan Dance 4, it's just a skill you will use on reopeners, in this case once every 2 minutes. The only trait I really skipped over in describing their 80 to 90 stuff is Enhanced Shield Samba at level 86, which reduces the Shield Samba cooldown to 90 seconds. All the ranged physical jobs get a trait like this for their respective raid-wide mitigations, however, so it's not that special for Dancer. So how does this change how the job does its opener, its reopeners? Well, odds are the start of your openers will remain similar, standard pre-pull into technical in most cases, unless of course a rapid technical use is necessary for a specific fight. Assuming raid-wide buffs are up by the end of technical step in an opener, I'd probably want to do something like this. So start with the pre-pull standard step at 15 seconds on the countdown, and then use it as soon as you get into combat, and then use your pot right away. After that, you have your technical step into your technical finish, and then flourish immediately after you technical finish. Then you can use Reverse Cascade. You want to start with a weak global cooldown so you can still let the rest of the party get their buffs rolling so you can get the maximum effect from the rest of your attacks. Then we're going to Devilment. That'll be a buff for us, that'll be a buff for our partner, and it will give us access to Starfall Dance. Now I have Starfall Dance at 11 seconds. Now this is assuming that all raid buffs are up at the 11-second mark. If that's not the case, feel free to push it back one more global cooldown because by that point they should definitely all be up. The most important thing is your off global cooldowns. You definitely want to make sure to use Fan Dance 4 here before using Fan Dance 3, unless of course again for some reason raid buffs aren't up, in which case you would just use the Fan Dance 3 and save the Fan Dance 4 for one more off global cooldown. After that, you'll use either Fountain Fall or Saber Dance, and then you'll use your priority system of always using Fan Dance 3 over Fan Dance 1. You'll then get another standard step, which you'll definitely want to prioritize. It is still something you want to be doing every 30 seconds, so do not skip this or it may fall out of alignment for the rest of the fight. After you standard finish, then you either do a Fan Dance 3 or a Fan Dance 1, depending on what's available, and at this point, things change a little bit. So with all of the procs now lasting 30 seconds instead of 20 seconds, you can basically free fire Saber Dances in your opener. You just need to make sure that Starfall Dance, the standard step, and all of your Fan Dances are being used in the 20-second technical finish time frame. Now with that, after standard step is a simple priority system, mostly. You'll use Saber Dances over everything else you have left if you have enough Esprit, and you'll finish using your Fountain Fall and Talana procs after these are done. If Saber Dance isn't available because you have bad Esprit luck, then Talana is prioritized and then Fountain Fall. The only exception is if you're at exactly 40 Esprit on the global cooldowns around 21 and 23 seconds in this opener. This is because Fountain Fall will guarantee 10 Esprit thanks to the new trait, ensuring you get another Saber Dance before your buffs wear off. All you need to make sure is that you use Talana before the 37-second mark in the opener and Fountain Fall before 38 seconds, as that is when they'll wear off thanks to those extended durations. Even if you were lucky enough to get 4, maybe even 5 Saber Dances here, you'll have enough time to use all of your procs, so just make sure you're getting as much potency inside of buffs and pot as possible. This probably won't be the only opener, but it's one to get started with, and we'll probably see it min-maxed, adjusted, and improved over time as things normally are. So definitely be open to learning more about Dancer after Endwalker comes out. These potencies could change, which could change the order and the priority, and on top of that, we've got some great professionals in all the roles in the community who might figure out some really cool stuff. Not to mention there could be job changes after Endwalker's release. So my actual thoughts on all of this. I main Dancer in every raid this expansion, and I loved it. It allowed me to get around the map, it allowed me to shot call, it allowed me to just feel like I was actually being a pretty major contributor, even if I have opinions that Dancer may not be a good range physical for fresh blind prog on week 1. But one big thing is that they eliminated 2 of my major issues that I've had with the Job All expansion, Saber Dance and Improvisation. Now for Saber Dance, it just gives you so much time to use procs and not risk losing them now, so I'll feel good about hitting my big potency skills without having to worry about overcapping or missing a proc usage, which is a big part of the decision making of Dancer right now that can be a little frustrating. For Improvisation though, like I said earlier, I'm not sure I'm a fan of this version of the skill. It's cool, I hope it has enough practical uses, but I did enjoy the min-maxing use for the previous version in Shadowbringers, and I feel like this won't offer as many interesting chances to utilize. It'll just be a downtime tool for healing and shields most likely. That's fine, but just not as much my cup of tea. As for all the new off-global cooldowns and procs, it keeps the openers and reopeners feeling busy and flashy with resource building periods between. That's pretty much how Dancer works now, and it's a flow that you either love or hate. I've enjoyed it all of Shadowbringers, and I suspect I'll continue to enjoy it after the expansion launches. And that's going to be a wrap for my video on the Dancer changes coming in Endwalker. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and check out all those other videos on the various job changes coming in Endwalker. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.